again, and this time we have come to the end of part three. Let us remind ourselves what part three was called. I forget. Let's see here. It is. I should probably just go to the beginning here. The proofs of your ambition. This is what part three was called. So we come to the end here at chapter 15 as we continue our deep dive into Forge of Darkness by Stephen Erikson, book one of the Carcanus trilogy. And so this chapter solidifies the fact that this book is a tragedy. Yeah, it's so many tragic things here, but it also solidifies this feeling that this tragedy is on a stage. It feels on a stage, like like a Midsummer's Night Dream. Kind of that feeling. It's mythic compared to the Book of the Fallen, which is related historic within the contents of the narrative of the world. It is, whereas this is mythic in the terms of its content because of how it seems like all the world's a stage here in this book. And so there's a lot of talk about swords in this chapter. Very interesting. We all know the sword that we get that we're talking about, but there's echoes of other stuff. And the first line is, "First son, take the sword in your hands." So he's looking to get it blessed here by Mother Dark. The sword that he had, the Hust Henerald, the Azathani forge, the Hust sword that has no sound. Yeah. And of course, we get a reminder that Anamanda's skin is now black and his hair is now silver. So that's that reminder of that. Now, there's an interesting statement here that says Henerald, the forge master here, he says, "This blade, no other shall claim this blade. Understand this of this sword. In the hands of a king, he is made a tyrant. In the hands of a tyrant, he is made abomination. In the hands of the broken, he breaks all that he touches." Now that is very reminiscent of a certain sword that we read about in Midnight Tides. It's remember Rulad and what that sword did to him? Well, that kind of echoes that kind of feel. And so that they're going on to discuss things, and they're talking about Mother Dark, of course, because everybody talks about her, and Anamanda, he asks a bunch of questions. There's Henerald of Anamanda, and Anamanda's like, "I can't answer you. You must ask them of Mother Dark." And he says, "Well, aren't you her first son?" And he's like, "What do children know of their parents?" And that's ironic because he's not actually her son. He's just named that. That's his first son as a position, a title. And interesting. So he's looking to Mother Anamander Rake is Pure Rake is looking to Mother Dark to bless his sword, and somebody thinks, when faith takes knife in hand, surely every god must turn away. So a lot of people think this is a mistake, getting this blessing, and I think so does Mother Dark, to be honest with you. So we move on to Silchus Ruin, who is talking with his good buddy Scarabandaris, who, of course, we all know that relationship does not end well. based upon the Book of the Fallen. And one of the things that Silchus says to Skara is, "Careful, eternity has teeth." Yeah, he should listen to his own advice, right? And for some reason, Silchus is his skin is resisting the caress of Mother Dark. So we all know that what that leads to, I believe. Um, yeah, a lot of symbolism there, a lot of hints at the future that we already know about. And let's see here. There is now a discussion between, oh, what's her name? What's her name? What's her name? Oh, Lady Hishtula. So we haven't seen her in a while, and but she's going to this procession that's supposed to be going to this wedding, and she meets up with Grip Gallus, the guy. So they're going because they have to tell Animander about the events that happened with the orphan towel, and so this is where this is kind of a convergence of different events that have happened throughout the book, that we finally get to see. It's funny how long it takes for news to reach certain areas of this realm, and yeah, let's see here. Yes. Grip Gallus, mentions that Orphantal was weeping for his dying horse. If you remember, that's how Orphantal escaped, when the horse died and allowed the child to escape, basically. And she says, "Didn't a child of Namander once, long ago, also weep at a horse dying?" And yes, and she's referring, because Namander is the actual father of Anna Manda Puriki, and so she's referring to Anna Manda, so that they're making a connection there. That's pretty cool. Um, let's see here. So then Animander's talking to Mother Dark. Let's see here. Oh, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. Uh, it's Hennerald, and he's talking to the first son, and oh, no, yeah, they're both there. All right. Let's see here. So yes, Animander's pushing Mother Duck. He's asking her what their mission is, what's their purpose here, what's the plan, basically. And she says something like, "The risk, I now believe, is to be found in the chaining of what must not be chained, and the fixing in place of that which must be free to wander." If you read into that, that is, of course, a reference to the cripple god, who was also known as the chain god at one point. Um, so that's once again projecting into the future, into the Book of the Fallen, events that are going to happen a long, long time from this. And so, they're kind of in disagreement. And Animander's kind of getting angry, which we don't see that much in the Book of the Fallen, because maybe with the wisdom of years has tempered his his anger, or his attitude, or what have you. So, um, so he's begging her for a cause. "Name yourself the prize if you must, but give me a cause," he says. And there's nothing but silence. And they say the sword is blessed. He's not certain, so we'll see what comes of that. We'll see what comes to that. Then we move on to the historian, Rise Harat, and he he he's giving like a he gives a whole speech on history here, and he and it's pretty cool. It's just a big section that is very interesting. He says, and he's talking about shadows of history, and which is interesting. He says such shadows cannot be walked. Such shadows offered no grip for the hand, no hold for the foot. They were in truth nothing more than ongoing arguments between light and dark. Yeah, we are all interludes in history. I like this stuff. Uh, yeah, he talks about the river, and which is a reference to the river god. Historians, he decided, were as deaf as anyone else, and he says, perhaps one day I will walk in shadows. So the ideas that we are seeing in here, we're starting to see the formulation of what breaks the Teist apart into the different sub races, almost the Andy, the Eder, and the Leosin. So as we've seen, um, this is all fascinating stuff. So he yeah. Let's see here. So he's talking to one of the high priestesses, and he's talking about writing history, and they're looking at this tapestry, and this tapestry is a creation allegory, um, and it portrays the first Teist heroes who slew a dragon goddess and drank of her blood, and thus became as gods. Yeah. So fierce was their rule and so cold their power that the Azathani, Azathane, however you say that, rose as one to cast them down. Wow, that's epic. It is said that all discord reveals a touch of draconian blood. So, draconian blood is chaos. We've seen that in the Book of the Fallen, the chaos of dragons, the chaos of the Elent, uh, in that it is the loss of our purity that wields the hand of our ills in all the ages since that time. A dragon with many heads, according to this unknown weaver. That's awesome. That just ties the mythology of dragons, wraps it up with the mythology of the Teist, and I like that. That was really cool. That was so cool reading about this stuff. Anyways, um, and then we go back to Grizzin Farrell, the Azathane, who befriended the dog that he calls Providence, which is funny. Um, and yeah, that was an interesting interlude that was amusing until, of course, it wasn't, because this is a tragedy. Um, and But I think we needed that a little bit in this chapter. We needed a little bit of levity, brevity, in order to carry on with the tragedy. And so we get back to, let's see here. We get back to Hishtula and Gripgalis are finally bringing the news to Animander, and they they give him the news of Orphantow, and Animander takes up off his lady Hishtula his arm for the wedding. Not good. Um, yep. They speak of news of the Legion and stuff like that. Um, and then of course we move to Grizzin Farrell, the Azathani, coming across the estate and coming across the horrendous condition of Kataspala. the guy who poked his eyes out. The sister, the brother of the bride. Yeah, that's not a great thing to come across. And then, of course, we have the arrival of the wedding party to the place where the wedding was supposed to happen, which we all know is a horrendous scene of slaughter. Um, and this is where there's an argument between Anderist and Anamander, the two brothers, because Anderist was the groom. He's, of course, heartbroken. He's stricken. He's crying over his beloved, and they argue about what to name Anamanda's sword, and that's interesting because they're projecting their feelings through the naming, and I find that fascinating. Anamander wants to name the sword Vengeance. Anderist wants to name it Grief. And they give all their reasons. There's a whole bunch of philosophizing within the through the anger of the situation and what it means to name this sword a certain thing. Um, and so Anderis just wants to name it Grief because he wants people to mourn with him. He wants the mourning. He wants to mourn, and it's heartbreaking. It really is. The end of this part is heartbreaking, and you wonder what it means. The proofs of your ambition. What does that mean? What does that mean? The proofs of your ambition. Um, I don't know. I don't really know. I am trying to think about it, but the proofs of your ambition. Yeah, this is maybe it's the proof. This tragedy is the proof of the ambition of the people who set up Urisander and Urisander's legions to be the bad guys. So here's the proof laid out before us with this tragedy with Andrus and his grief, and Anamander and his need for vengeance. This splits the brothers. Anamander walks off. He's mad. He he no longer and Andrus says, "I'm no longer talking to you." Like that they they're not. And it's sad because it's they both they both hate what happened here, but they both disagree on how to deal with it, and um, that is nothing. That is something that should never come between brothers. Let each deal with their grief in their own way, I guess. But it's Anamanda who refuses to take in grief and instead wants vengeance. That's a lot to think about. Yeah, and the proof of their ambitions. Wow. Um, and it ends with Hishtula, Lady Hishtula, assuring Andrus he does not mourn alone. Wow, man, I get shaken up just thinking about it. All right, that's the end of part three, the proofs of, and that's the end of chapter chapter 15. All right, we're moving on to the last part for this book, this epic trail, this epic tale. Uh, wow, be good to each other, please.